What are the ride modes? Eco, normal, sport.
This is ultraviolet. You cannot have eco, normal, and sport. It's glide, combat, and ballistic.
Glide, combat, and ballistic. So normal is combat.
Normal is combat, and it's a very good mode.
Okay.
And you can see the balance of it, and I don't like the balance of it. But what they've basically done is that the glide mode, which is their base mode, is extremely conservative. Okay, so it is fully range oriented, and this is where you'll see max range. What is nice about this mode is the performance is not so slow that you feel like it is tedious and dull.
Right.
There is just enough to get through traffic with enormous range coming when we had the 10 kilowatt hour battery pack. So there's literally always range left. So range anxiety on this bike is a very, very remote possibility.
Okay.
And then from glide to combat mode is a big step up in performance and a big drop in range.
Okay.
But ballistic, which has even more performance, is a very small delta.
In terms of performance?
In terms of performance, and therefore also in terms of range.
Okay.
So in the user manual, Ultraviolette says we don't expect you to use ballistic constantly. And ballistic will give you maximum performance, optimizing battery, motor, etc., etc. But if you ride a lot in ballistic, I also like their motor state indicator. It's a small gray icon that says not armed. Green, motor is healthy, temperatures are fine, you can go for it. Orange, we are going a little bit hot. Maybe you want to be a little careful. And then red, which is hot. But because it's the motor that's heating up and not the battery, if you just calm down a little bit, the motor recovers and goes back to green after a while. So you can keep recovering the performance and enjoying more of it. So on my first day, I rode, I'm going to say about 97 kilometers in one go. And I constantly used ballistic, saw the motor overheat, went back into combat, rode a little bit more calmly for a while, and came back to ballistic again.
So I was going to ask you, did you manage to shut it down?
No. What I really love about the ultraviolet is even the last time on the Mach 1, getting it to properly overheat and say, okay, I am done with this shit and I will not let you do any more of this is next to impossible, and I really love it.
Actually, the reason why I didn't ask you that then was because this kind of communication is superb.
Yeah.
Because it's giving you gradations.
Yeah.
And it's telling you when you can intervene as a rider.
Now,
and control things.
Correct. What I would want them to change, honestly, is to move this indicator out into the LEDs rather than keep it in the screen.
Right.
Because spotting it on the screen, it used to be easier the last time. They've reorganized the modes a little bit, the layout a little bit, and now it's a little bit harder to spot because it sits right next to the region indicator, which is a bunch of square blocks. This is also a bunch of square blocks. It's a little bit hard to read. Okay. But it is a good indicator, and I think many EVs should have it, especially if you're oriented towards a mode where there is performance. Having a heat state available to you as a warning allows you to go longer without reaching serious duration or cutting performance or saying these modes are not available, etc., etc. So I think that heat indicator is a great idea. I think the fact that they're straining the motor more than the battery is also a good idea. We saw this on the Ather Apex also. They also strain the motor. But a motor's heat recovery is far quicker than a battery's heat recovery. So you can go into that state and then recover from it within the same ride, which is awesome. Ballistic mode is genuinely fast. It is genuinely fun to use. You can go very, very quickly in that mode, and in traffic, short commutes, I think you'll never come out of ballistic if you're a sporty minded rider.
Really?
And for people who are not that kind of sporty, even if you're in combat mode, there is so much performance that in the city, I don't think you'll notice it. What I think they've done, but they didn't explicitly say, is they've slightly tuned the ballistic mode, because last time in slower and slower traffic, there was a ramp up in performance. So when you just open the throttle, it won't give you a lot of it. And then suddenly it give you a lot of it. So I constantly kept going back and saying, okay, no, I want combat mode while I'm in slow traffic. And then when it starts to open up, I will manually select ballistic, because that variation in performance was not nice for me. This bike didn't have that problem. So they have moved a step forward on that also. You've just watched a 3 to 5 minute clip on the MotorInc Clips channel, which means either you are an exceptionally talented millennial or Gen Z, or you're a much older person. In either case, would you like a challenge? Our main channel has videos that are at least 5 to 8 times longer, and they make 5 to 8 times more sense, I promise. Would you like to check it out? Come to the MotorInc channel.